Okay, here we go. Let's see. Am I in the screen? Okay. All right. So I'm doing a brief little video on the cranial nerves. You guys are laughing. Everybody's laughing because this is my first videotape and laugh. But I wanted to videotape this and put it online because cranial nerves are going to be one of the hardest things that you do and one of the most clinically important things that you do. Okay, why are they going to be clinically important for you to know and understand them well? What are they going to help you to screen, to test? People who have had what? Head trauma, okay? Remember in lecture, I said that nerves don't like pressure. Okay, what does swelling cause in the brain? Pressure. That swelling or direct damage to a cranial nerve can inhibit them from working. If there is continued pressure or damage on that cranial nerve, they can be damaged permanently. Now that's bad, let me tell you why. Guess what the cranial nerves help to do? They help you to see. They help you to smile. They help you to taste, hear, smell. All the vital functions of the head and neck region are controlled by the cranial nerves, okay? They are the part of the peripheral nervous system that goes to the head and the neck, okay? And one actually goes to the abdomen, which we'll talk about, okay? Does that make sense? Cool, okay? The other part of the peripheral nervous system will be mixed spinal nerves. Those are quite a bit easier, right? They're called mixed because they have both what? Sensory motor. Awesome. Those will go out to the rest of the body, but they don't provide those vital functions, right? They're just providing sensation, not that that's not vital, but sensory and motor, okay? So, two parts of the peripheral nervous system are what again? Cranial nerves, yay. And mixed spinal nerves, okay? Does that make sense? So let's go through the mnemonics for the cranial nerves. I'm not going to give you all the names because it's part of the lab. This is just a general introduction to help you get into the cranial nerves, to get a general understanding of them. What I did in your lab books is I put a chart together of 12 questions that ask you a function of a cranial nerve. Your goal is to determine which cranial nerve will perform that function. And the reason I chose those 12 functions is because those will be the most clinically important functions of that cranial nerve. When you go through the cranial nerve charts in your lecture book, it's much more in depth than this. But if you were to sit down and do a cranial nerve exam on somebody, you'd be testing what I've put in your lab book. Okay, so it'll give you that nice clinical application that you need for this, okay? Before you do that activity in your lab book, it's a great idea to make a chart with all of the cranial nerves, what their number is, what their name is, what their general function is, which once again, you may have to sort of look at the lab manual that I put together for you because there's multiple functions for them. Look for the most important one. And finally, whether it's sensory, motor, or both. So there are two mnemonics to help you remember the names of the cranial nerves, the sensory, motor, or both function as well, okay? When you get into your lab exam, sit down and guess what the first thing you should do is? 1 to 12, cranial nerve names, sensory, motor, or both. Okay, you're not gonna have a million questions on it, but they're confusing, and quite often halfway through the exam you start getting tired and you miss easy points because you start to get the cranial nerves muddled up in your brain, okay? So here's the mnemonic that I made up, and it's silly and it doesn't make sense because I turned a very dirty one into a clean one, okay? It's the one that sticks with me. If you want to take the one in your book says something about a rusty truck or something, I don't know. But the one that I made up is ooh, 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 to touch and feel very good vegetables and honey. I know people on the videotape probably can't see that really well, so let me say it again. Ooh, 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 to touch and feel very good vegetables and honey. That gives you the first letter of each of the cranial nerves. Okay, what's cranial nerve 1? Olfactory. Cranial nerve 2, optic, etc. Okay, so make this chart before you do the activity in your book. It's going to help quite a bit. The next thing that you'll determine is whether it's sensory, motor, or both. Okay, this is, I believe, the one that is in your book, or it's similar to the one in your book. So, cranial nerve 1, olfactory, is just sensory. Okay? 2, optic, is just sensory. Now your book is going to give you a little variation when it comes to clinical applications. This is going to be the most important thing to remember. Are you with me? Okay. I'm trying to simplify it down for you. So the mnemonic for that is some say money matters, but my brother says big business means more. And that gives you which cranial nerve is sensory, motor, or both. Okay? Okay, does that make sense? So, and then the last column, and I'm not going to go through that with you, you should put the function, the general function. Okay? And you can use the lab book to help you with that, because like I said, I've tried to give you the big functions for those cranial nerves. Okay, does that make sense? Is that cool? After we go over this chart and you understand the number, the name, the function, sensory, motor, or both, then in lab, we're actually going to look at the underside of the models of the brains and look at the cranial nerves on there. And I did a short videotape last night that we're going to upload as well. Okay, so this should be a good online review. Any questions? Cool. All right.